Welcome to edition 119 of All Killa No Filla podcast with me, Rachel Fairburn and Kiri Pritchard-McLean. Just before we start, we'll do our usual disclaimer. This isn't hero worship. We do this podcast because we have mutual interest in serial killers. As long as we are doing this podcast, it stops us from writing some in prison.
Absolutely. And we're recording this episode in New Zealand.
Yes.
We're in Christchurch.
Yep.
We've done our Australian tour.
Yep.
Rachel, how would you describe your feelings about Australia in one word?
Untouchable.
We are so...
I think it might be the greatest country on earth.
Yeah. And New Zealand, we've only been here a very short amount of time. New Zealand, just as good so far.
Nice. I like the scenery. It's quiet.
It's quiet. I think when we go to the North Island, you'll realise it's busier. Cool. We're in the quieter part. Oh my God, we loved Australia, didn't we? You, and this is not like you, 2 days you went, I've been looking how I can move over here. You're immediately Googling how you do it.
I think it's amazing. I think it's... do you know what though? It's just highlighted how shit it is and how downtrodden everyone feels in England, in Britain. I just feel that it's not going to change in my lifetime. I think that we are taxed so much. We don't see, for example, they're moving the bin collections where I live to once every 2 weeks. It's a fucking city. It's London. You can't live like this. Like, just everything is creaking. Nothing works. Well, I shouldn't be shocked that a hand dryer actually works.
You said that on stage.
Do you know what I mean?
In Brisbane, you're like, every hand dryer I put my hands on it has worked.
It blows my mind. Like, hand dryers work. We haven't had any delays on any transport.
Well, what we were saying the other day is, when we went for dinner, we were like, I feel like I'm a nicer person when I'm here.
Well, because people take real pride in their jobs. Like, people are nice, people are friendly, which doesn't suit me all the time, but
it makes me friendlier.
The interactions that you have are not making you annoyed, do you know?
Well, when we are annoyed, what has it always turned out to be? Like yesterday in that shop, you know, someone was like, no,
Brits.
Everyone would be like, oh, fucking all right, mate. You know, where they've been
every single time
obnoxious.
Every single time.
You're like, oh, okay, yeah, that accent's from...
I can't tell you how annoying it has been. That Scottish woman in a crystal shop. Wind it in, love. You need some of these crystals to calm you down, and that's coming from me. Just shouting. Do you know what I mean?
So we've loved it. We loved the live shows. We've loved our solo shows. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was Melbourne was one of the All Killa show that we did in Melbourne. Stunning theatre. One of the funnest All Killas ever.
Feels like a million years ago, though.
It does, yeah. Because you're catching us now in our final week out here. So we've been...
Final days. I mean, it's Thursday today. Yeah. I leave on Sunday.
Yeah. Fly Monday. So, yeah, we loved Melbourne. And then what did we do next? Did we do Perth then Sydney?
Perth then Sydney, yeah.
Perth was...
And Brisbane.
Perth, long way. I hadn't realised Australia's so big. Very ignorant. So, do you want my favourite fact? Australia is actually the same, well, a bit bigger width-wise than the moon. Mm-hmm. So you got to fly across the moon to get to Perth. Yeah, Perth is very fun, very sort of raucous.
Very good art gallery.
Very good art gallery. And then we went back to Sydney. Is Sydney our favourite?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sydney is
easy.
So nice.
Don't write in going, oh, well, I live in Perth. I literally don't care.
It could have been just like the area we put up in. Oh my God, the Chazas and the vintage shops here. This is from the Salvation Army. The shirt I'm wearing a silver and black zebra lame shirt.
I've just got my PE kit on. You're getting now out of me today.
This was like £2 from a Salvation Army. So we love the charity shops. We love the vintage shops. Customer service from a Gen Z in a vintage shop here. Absolutely incredible.
Everyone's been very pleasant.
Yeah. It's been brilliant. The food is nuts. The food is unbelievable. Shout out to Buddha Bowl Cafe in Newtown.
When you're open.
We're cross because we'd been looking forward to it all day and they shut the kitchen at like 2:30. But the owner's lovely and had nice chats with
very nice food.
So, and
the food's unbelievable. I don't know how I'm going to go back to eating the slop that we get served by Mr. Bumble at the fucking workhouse. Honestly, this is very unlike me. When we were leaving Australia, I was talking to Street and nearly burst into tears. I was like, I don't want to go.
Yeah, you were?
I don't want to go. Like, I've never felt so... Usually when I'm leaving somewhere, I'm like, yeah, come on, I get the gist now. Let's go. Ready for home. Of course I want to go home, but I'm just a bit like, I've never felt so sad to leave somewhere. I felt like... I felt bereaved. And the fact that we've got to go back to that dog shit. And listen, don't message me about bashing it. Of course, there's great things in England and all the rest of it and the UK, but I just feel it's highlighted that there's so many issues.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, I think, sorry to be very boring about it, but from what I can understand is that in the recession, the Australians like spent their way out of it, whereas we were like, the Tories used it as ideological way of doing austerity, and our country as a result is fucking falling apart, and Australia is
nothing works.
Paradise.
I just know I'm going to go back and it's going to be like, oh, well, that doesn't work. Or, well, the train's delayed. You know, it's the very idea of having to go back to chaos is depressing me, you know?
Yeah.
But we've got to go back.
We've got to go back. And next time, if we ever get to come out here again, which I really hope we do because we've loved doing the live shows. So yeah, Sydney was awesome. And then Brisbane, really, really fun. Beautiful venues. Also the venue staff. Oh, there's no shit. There's a drink in the like there's a rider backstage for you.
We got to Brisbane. We were early, went for a lovely lunch, didn't we?
Yeah.
And turned up at the venue and we said, oh, hello, we're here to... The girl turned around, she said, I'm here for you already. She was waiting for us.
She was like, they're just finishing up with the tech, but I'll come and get you. Why don't you go and have a drink? So we sat and had lunch.
Incredible.
It was amazing. Then when we went in, all the tech was already done. And normally I have to be like, can we change this? Can we do this? Or they haven't read the tech rider. Everything was done to an exceptional standard. We are so happy. Yeah. Like, everyone is lovely. We've had the best time. Thank you very much.
And listen, it is quiet here because, you know, the girl said to me downstairs last night in the hotel, she was working behind the thing and she said, it's quiet, eerily quiet.
Oh, really?
I feel like we shouldn't be here. I feel like something's happened that we don't know about.
Oh, my God.
I was like, this is...
What if it's all shut down? What if there's been like, what would you do if it was like COVID and we weren't allowed to leave?
I would hate that.
Really?
As much as I like it here, I would hate that. I don't want to go home to my stuff. I've got books at home. I can't. Yeah, I'd have to go back, but. For the time being,
it's lovely.
Get me back to Sydney, though, I say.
I've been talking about this on stage. Something weird happened. So when on the way over here, you've got to do like promo to talk about your shows and stuff, especially with the old Killa shows because they're much bigger rooms. So I did a radio interview and I messaged you afterwards because I apologise, Australia. I thought you were all clinically insane after this radio show. So basically, I was talking to this guy who said, right, coming up, we've got Kiri Pritchard-McLean, who is our host of a, what did he call it? A true comedy, real crime podcast.
That's true comedy.
Yeah, true comedy, real crime podcast. I don't know what that means. So if you've got any true crime stories for her, get in touch. And then gave out the number. And I was like, what is this? So then what happened is Australians from around Australia called me up and told me about different crimes. And bearing in mind, I'm there to be like the light relief. Also, I didn't forget to tell you this. He kept going, you're not very funny, is it? After they would explain the crime, but like, no, like it's a controlled circumstances that we do our podcast.
Can I be honest? I don't know why you saw it through. I have on occasion just clicked something off because I'm like, I'm not doing this. Like, if someone's more than 8 minutes late, it ain't happening.
Yeah, you go, don't you?
And if I'm not enjoying something, I'm like, this is not of any benefit to me or you. I'm going.
Oh, it definitely didn't sell any tickets. Then at one point, someone told me about a racehorse that had like dripped hair dye off it, and then someone told me someone was like, this woman was very sweet, but she was like, talked about this horrific case that all the Australians knew about where some children had been snatched on a beach about 30 years ago. And she signed off with, so if you could find those children while you're out here, and I was like, that is way above my pay grade. You've misunderstood what we do on this podcast. So yeah, I've been tasked with finding some.
I mean, 30 years, you don't want them back now, do you?
Fuck off. So basically,
a lot of therapy.
Yeah, it's going to cost me an absolute fortune. Yeah, I've been tasked with finding some missing children while I've been out here. And then I messaged you immediately and I was like, I've just done the most nuts interview. And my partner and I were laughing about it all day. And then I was like, hold on a second, did the maths. I was on the radio at 3:00 in the morning, Australian time. And of course, that's when all the...
Just say it.
That's when all the mental people, problematic language, that's when all the crazies phone up and give their 2 penneth from all over.
Although
Australia.
in England, that happens in the afternoon.
Yeah, any time of day, LBC.
Some of these phone-ins.
So yeah, I'm sorry, Australia. I judged you as being a country full of deeply unwell people. But it was because I was judging you off the kind of person who rings up a sort of radio talk show at 3:00 in the morning. I apologise.
Blows my mind people still ring the radio.
Do you know Matt Ford used to love doing that on the radio? He's like, oh, I love it. I love that I get all the crazy people. He's the only person who wants to do that shift.
I honestly, I can't, it blows my mind. Also, what else blows my mind is that despite all the technology, we people still sound crap when they ring up the radio. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Katy Perry's been to space, and yet people still sound terrible when they're on the radio.
Or people still go, have you got your radio on in the background?
Oh, God.
There's this horrible sound of feedback.
You're going to have to very much lead this today because I've forgotten my notebook.
That's fine. This is my area because today we are going to be talking about the first recorded Welsh serial killer.
Ooh.
We're talking about Joseph Kappen, who... did you watch the Steeltown Murders?
No, I've not seen it yet.
It was like a dramatisation, which apparently is very good, that was on BBC Wales. I'm not just saying that because they give me work. Also known at the time as the Saturday Night Strangler. Too jaunty, that,
I was going to say, sounds fun.
Yeah.
You put it like that.
Sounds like a dance move.
Yeah.
Sweeping the nation. Rachel's doing a horrible act out there, if you're listening. So, Joseph Kappen. Kappen is not a very Welsh-sounding surname. For a start, we don't have a K. Kappen, to me... listen, I'm not going to say anything about the heritage. Kappen. I've got a burp coming. That's what's happening. Having some kombucha. We live different lives out here. Excuse me.
Is it gone? Thank you.
It's gone. So he's born October 30th, 1941 in Port Talbot. Some people say he's born in Neath. Some people say Port Talbot. Very different places if you've been. He was one of 6. They were raised by his stepfather, which I think is where he gets the Kappen from, actually. Now, he is kind of trouble from the start. One of the stories is, and the police become involved in this, he's in youth club and he physically throws another boy down the stairs. Ooh. Yes, injuring him. So much so it comes to the police's attention because that will come back later. So his mum was called Sarah Pugh. His dad has an exciting name. I can't even recognise my handwriting, but it looks like Clement Prietti or something, which is interesting because that sounds like an Italian surname, and there's lots of Italians in South Wales. Now, at the age of 12, he starts committing crimes. He has a criminal record with over 30 offences on: assault, burglary, car theft. He's in and out of prison, usually kind of short stints. Now, he's working as a bouncer. And as a driver, he drives lorries, he drives buses. He's, in the words of your father, a professional driver. Have you told the story about your dad and the thing? So, obviously, he does coach trips and he's the professional driver of the coach. My mum went on one of the trips with him. Don't know why. Adorable.
And they were going somewhere like to Devon or something. And my dad said, the tannoy in the coach system, right, we're arriving at the village now. We'll be there in about 8 minutes, and don't be checking Google Maps because we're going my way. There was something. My mum told me something else that he said last night, and I can't remember what it was. But my mum said to him, "Listen, even I am shocked at how abrupt your father is with these people." Still gets tips though.
Really?
Yeah, they still give him tips.
But is he one of those ones where, like, being curmudgeonly is part of the shtick? Because we went on a lovely, lovely pony trek
Yeah.
about an hour away from Christchurch with the fantastic Chris.
I've remembered what it is. So he was taking, I think it was some Liverpool fans or something, to a game, and they were behaving like beasts on the coach, and they stopped at the services, and when everyone got back on, he went, right, we're leaving now, and I suggest you leave your attitudes here.
I love it. Tough love. That's what we need.
I suggest. So yeah, our pony trek, very good.
Oh my God, we loved it. It was, if you're looking to go pony trekking in New Zealand, we paid for all this. This isn't a ad, but we loved him. So we went on Rubicon Valley pony trekking.
I don't think we get enough free stuff.
We don't get any free. Oh no, we got fussy deodorant.
Oh yeah, thanks. That was great. But
we have now committed to it and buy it every month anyway.
Yeah, well, I was buying it anyway.
Yeah. So Chris at Rubicon Valley horse trekking, me and you went out, and it was great, wasn't it? And even though you're scared of heights and we went up very high, you did brilliantly.
Yeah, at one point I was like, I'm going to be sick here. I don't know if I'm going to be sick or cry.
Also, he was like, he calls you by your horse's name. So mine was called Memphis and yours was called Gem, as in gemstone.
But sound like Jim.
Yeah, because he was like, you're on Jim? Because he's got a Kiwi accent. And we both have men in our lives with that name that you're like, that make you roll your eyes. So you're like, he said to you, you're on Jim. You're like, oh, fucking of course I am.
Yeah, why wouldn't I be? Yet again.
But we had an amazing time. And he was one of those people who, like, being curmudgeonly was sort of his vibe.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I was terrified of him at first.
Well, I tried to win him over and I tried to kill him.
You did?
I tried to throw some private school charm at him. No, yeah, but it took a very long time.
You did, but I have to admit, he was a lovely guy. But I am very shy anyway. So I'm always glad when you're there because you take the reins, as it were.
Very good, yeah.
In the conversation. Because I find it very difficult to engage with people. And he was a lovely guy. And I was thinking, I wonder if he's like, I wonder if he loves his horses. And I heard him having a little conversation with his horse. I was like, oh, it's actually really sweet.
It's really sweet. I think he really takes care of them because he takes retired trotters.
Yes.
And if he didn't take them, a lot of them go to meet. Yeah. And he just really cared and he was great. At one point, he sort of went, oh, we're going to go here. And I just wanted to double check because I saw another path. I said, am I turning left here or going straight ahead? He went, you're going straight ahead. If I wanted you to turn left, I would have told you to turn left. And I was like, okay, Chris, I'll just trying to have a nice horse ride.
But also, I think to do that job, you have to be you've got to be in control. You can't take any shit.
Do you remember what he said, though, about who the worst behaved people
So I asked,
yeah,
in one of my rare moments of confidence, I said, so what nationality are the worst horse riders? And he said, well, I can tell you who were the most, basically the arseholes.
the badly behaved ones.
Middle-aged Brits.
Women who were like, you do it like this, actually. And he's like, they're my horses, so we do it like this.
But also, it's a different way. So the way we ride horses, we're used to short reins, whereas here, it's like you're a cowboy.
Yeah.
Ambling along.
Because I used to get told off, your reins are too long.
Yeah.
And he kept going, you've got to give it his head more.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Very nice. Lovely scenery.
Incredible.
But his horse ran off at one point. Or just fucked
ambled off.
Just went, I've had enough of this. Just walked off and then came back.
Yeah.
Also, I thought it was very sweet how when we went through little rivers that they assessed it with the hooves. Didn't they? They sort of tested it and they went, okay, we can go. Just very nice animals. It was just a great day.
It was a lovely day.
One of the best days ever, I'd say.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And there was, he was this kind of guy. We arrived there was alpacas in a field and we were sort of, and he went, why are you taking pictures of them? Just jump over the fence and let them out. I was like, okay, I'll work here now, do I?
Yeah, we work here now. They're such funny animals, alpacas. They're so like gormless looking, aren't they?
I think they look like my partner. They're all like long neck and like big curly hair.
Good natured.
Yeah. Always spit on my tits. Same as my partner, really.
New Zealand can't cope with this kind of talk. I feel like I'm disrespecting the land.
So he's got a criminal record, Joseph Kappen, all these different offences. He's working as a bouncer, as a lorry driver. Now, years later, a police officer will say, this is a man with a violent disposition. In fact, when the crimes come up, this police officer says, go and talk to this guy. He threw a kid down the stairs when he was a kid. Like, he's dodgy. And he describes him as being a Fagin-like character. So when he was a bouncer, he would kind of recruit young boys and girls to kind of do his bidding for him. So he just thought he was a dodgy fuck. So he did a lot of hobbling. Do you know what hobbling is?
No.
Hobbling in this context is not when you break something's feet or legs. It's where you sign on, but you work cash in hand, which I imagine for that time in, like in the 70s is not that unusual, especially because there was energy shortages everywhere. So everyone was restricted to doing a 3-day week anyway. So I think hobbling was quite common. That's one of the problems with the demise of cash as well. Can't work cash in hand.
Do you know, I've not had any money in my hand since I've been here.
No, same.
All card.
Yeah. So also loved a bit of weed. That's another thing, right? Things that constantly plague me in the UK that are not a thing here. Tripping over or rolling across what they called NOS gas canister. Sorry to sound 1,000.
Yeah.
But those canisters are everywhere. Walking through huge, massive clouds of weed that fucking stink.
vape.
And vapes. And I haven't seen anyone. I've walked through one person smoking weed in Sydney.
I have to say, as someone who has smoked, occasionally has a cigarette, I hate vaping and I cannot wait until those little plastic vapes are banned. I will dance up the street. I hate vaping. I think it makes you look stupid. I think it makes me assume that you have a low intelligence. It's absolutely fucking disgusting.
I think it's just that it's so squarely aimed at children is kind of indefensible.
Just constant. Makes you look stupid. Stop doing it. You look
People
like a
who
twerp.
vape into their shirt in the pub.
Don't. The amount of times I say to Tim, if I fucking see you vaping it, you cannot vape. Go outside and vape. Do not vape in the pub. It is disrespectful. Nobody wants to see your puff of smoke. It's so obnoxious. So obnoxious. Cannot wait until it is banned.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
You see them everywhere now.
Just have a cigarette.
Have a cigarette.
You'll
you
do it
fucking
less. You'll do it less.
child. I think people do vape more than they smoke.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's a dirty habit. Honestly, I can't tell you how smoking. I'm not. People want to smoke. That's fine. Of course, it's bad for you, and I do think sometimes that I'm always of the thing like when they want to ban smoking in beer gardens. I'm like, no, fuck off. Like, can you let people just enjoy a vice, a legal vice, please?
Outside, fine.
Outside, fine. And those people, well, it's summer and we're outside all year, fucko. So eat your dinner and breathe in the smoke. Eat inside if you don't want smoke near you. But vaping, there's something wrong. I don't know. It's just gross, innit?
Yeah, I mean, I've just never done any of it. I think you're now maybe at the point where if you have a drink, you have a smoke. Do you have one the other day when you were celebrating your favourite holiday?
Anzac Day.
Right, Rachel, since we've come over here, is absolutely obsessed with Anzac Day, which happened to fall her out here.
Love it. What a day. Everyone's out. The sailors are out. Woo, everyone's having a good time.
You had a few drinks, and I sort of mentioned it, and you went, it was Anzac Day.
It's Anzac Day, mate. Anzac Day. Loved it.
Can I tell them what you said when you walked in?
Yeah, go on.
I would say, kicked the door down. I was FaceTiming my partner.
I opened the door.
The door burst open. You stepped in and went, baby's home. Because it's Anzac Day.
Great holiday. Lovely. Take it so seriously, and I admire that.
Lots of sort of sailors everywhere.
There was, and lots of elderly gentlemen with their suits and the medals on, and I think it's, again, pride.
Yeah.
I don't like war. I'm not, one of those people, but I think it was
a bank holiday.
I just thought it was a really respectful.
Also, unlike a bank holiday, which it's autumn over here, but it's been unseasonably warm.
Yes.
Right?
It was hot, yes.
It was very hot on Anzac Day, and if there was a hot bank holiday,
The hottest one I've known.
If it was a hot bank holiday at home, right, tops off straight away. There'd be vomit everywhere.
Yeah.
There'd be fights.
Yeah.
None of that. Just handsome sailors.
And just people enjoying themselves from, may I say, 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Just getting on with it. And, then there was all big events in parks and things like that. Mm-hmm. It was just,
Just a lovely way to celebrate.
What a great day.
Australian New Zealand Army Corps.
And listen, what are you doing next Anzac Day?
Well, hopefully it'll be here.
Great. Can't wait. Don't book me any gigs on Anzac Day next year. I'm out. From 8 a.m.
So speaking of smoking, weirdly, this guy, Joseph Kappen, that we are meant to be talking about, Joseph Kappen is... Are we recording this? Yeah, thank God.
Oh, thank God, don't. I swear to... do you know what I would have done? I would have launched this laptop out of the fucking window.
Oh, my wisdom tooth is really hurting. Anyway, so he smoked 20 Old Holborn roll-ups a day.
Ooh.
My dad was a roll-up man.
Yeah.
He also chewed tobacco. And so apparently his teeth were really stained and he stunk of tobacco. And all of the victims said this guy, you know, well, not the ones that they found and weren't able to speak to, but the ones that had survived said this guy stunk of, like, all you could smell was cigarettes, which is horrible.
It's disgusting.
Now, he's a weird one. He'd go out on the Raz almost every single night. He'd go to like 2 or 3 pubs every evening, but he wouldn't drink because they were like, he didn't want to lose control.
The
of
old
himself.
Fred West.
Yeah. So he'd maybe like nurse a pint, but would be drinking something else. Yes, he would go out, he'd be social, you know, play for the darts team, but no one was his mate. No one really knew him. They said he knew everybody, but no one knew him.
Okay. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
Well, it's interesting you say Fred West because he'll come back in a second, but it reminds me a lot of him. So he is, you know, he's a good-looking guy.
Stinks.
Absolutely stinks. His teeth are rotten. But he's 6'1". He's Italian sort of heritage. So yes, Kappen is from his stepfather. He's got blue eyes, but like dark complexion. He was early to working out with dumbbells, which in the 70s wasn't actually. Now everyone does it. Your mum does it.
Yeah.
But at the time...
You leave my mum out of this.
Your mum a dumbbell fan?
No. I have told her she should do strength training, though.
Yeah, very good. So he's about 20 at this age, and he meets Christine Powell, who's 17 years of age. They're on the beach, and she says at the time, we were skin and you just hang around because no one had any money at this time. So he gets a coffee from the cafe. She gets coffee from the cafe. She's just hanging around. It's absolutely freezing. And he goes over and he goes, shall I buy you a hot chocolate? Oh. And she was like, so enamored. She says, it was the first kind thing that anyone had ever done for me.
Bloody hell.
I mean, that's a low bar, isn't it? Because it's not going to be one of those hot chocolates that's, you know, it's going to be powder, isn't it? And probably diluted with water. So the bar is already very low for Joseph to sail over. Mm-hmm. Sorry, just turning my page here like a news presenter. So he also drove, which was very unusual for the time because people might have passed their test, but they weren't able to run a car. But he was able to afford it. So she found that really attractive. Ooh. You know, got a 20-year-old boyfriend and he's got a car and he can drive us around. He used to do up cars in the garden. He's sounding more and more like my dad as time goes on. Loves a rolling.
Tinkering with
cars in the front garden. Now, it's not long before she's pregnant. It's the summer of 1963. They get married in February 64, and only 10 days later, he's in prison for burglary. Yeah, of gas meters. Now, I don't know how that works. Is it because you'd put money in the side?
I have no idea. Or is it tampering with them so?
Oh, like turning yours back so you don't...
Like Fred West?
Oh, my God, yeah, it's quite Fred Westy, isn't it? So...
Fred Westy. That's what I'd call one of those little dogs.
This is Fred the Westie. Oh my God, that's so funny. Baby Deborah is born in April of 1964, so he's probably still in prison. Oh yeah, he's allowed out on day release in August of 1965 with a warden, and that's for his granddad's funeral, who was also a Joseph. So while he's there, he's sort of like at the wake and he's sort of like winking at her, being like, come upstairs. So she goes...
He's awake.
Yeah, Grandad is what he would have wanted. So he drags Christine upstairs, has sex with her, fucking gets her pregnant. So this is where she's pregnant with Paul. Now Paul will become a big... conceived at awake. You know, like when...
Life goes on.
You know, when the Beckhams called their kid Brooklyn because that's where he was conceived, and be like, this is social club and this is buffet. So they go upstairs, have sex. That is where she becomes pregnant with Paul. Paul will become a big part of this case. So remember, his name is the second child. Now he's released from prison. He has 2 children that he's never really met in this case. He's got Deborah, he's got Paul. Now they moved to Sandfields, which is a big estate. They have another child called Beverly, who's born in 1974. Bev. My mother's name. That is the only child that he will really have a relationship with. The rest are like, who's this stranger with stinking teeth that suddenly lives with us? Now he's never got any money. The thing is, she says his poor wife is like, Christine is like, he'd get a good job, and then he'd steal lead from work to sell it to get a bit of money, and then he'd get sacked and he'd have no money again. So he just couldn't help himself. Any money he had, he would sink into his cars. He was quite like, he had a vanity about the kind of car that he drove and things. He'd frequently steal from Christine's purse. And bearing in mind, she didn't have a pot to piss in. And this is when he started recruiting the kids to go and steal stuff for him as well. Now, apparently he was very violent, very abusive. He used to demand his conjugal rights at least every fortnight. And she was like, I don't really want to have sex with you. And he's like, these are my rights. And so he'd rape her, which at the time wasn't illegal to do in marriage, which is fucked up. The police were called very frequently to their house. She said it was when we had a drink because I would fight back. So apparently she put Shirley Bassey on. This really sets it in Wales in sort of the 70s. She put Shirley Bassey on and be like, I hate that record. And she's like, well, I'm not taking down Shirley off. And then he beat her up because basically she refused to turn it down. And yeah, he used to hit her. Now she'd call the police. The police had a policy at the time of not intervening with domestic violence. It's a domestic. So they'd be like, right, okay, well, just don't do it again. Or like, well, why don't you turn it down next time?
Okay.
Yeah. Now, he did have hobbies. And when they profiled this guy and they were trying to find the killer, they said this will probably be a man with hobbies that you don't do with other people that you can do solo.
Okay.
So his hobbies were breeding fish, breeding canaries. These are all very 70s hobbies.
Breeding fish.
And greyhounds as well. There's a thing about greyhounds. They had a greyhound as a family dog. He was walking on the beach with Paul.
Oh, God, I know this bit. Horrible.
Picks up a bit of wire. And in front of Paul, who's a kid at the time, strangles the dog to death. Paul is obviously beside himself, freaking out, crying. I was like, why have you done that? And he's like, it's too old. So I think the dog hadn't been fast enough. Also, don't take a greyhound on a beach because they only need like 2 minutes of walking.
I know, it's mad at the greyhound. They just like to lie around, don't they? And they're just burst of...
Yeah, it's a burst, isn't it? Greyhounds are mad to look at. You like, that's just a pair of lungs on sticks. Like, it's just a lung with a head, isn't it?
I love their like long snouts.
They're very sweet. My mum used to work in old people's homes and they rescued greyhounds and they were all so peaceful and sweet. But
nice to have around.
Big lungs.
Will kill your cat.
Will kill your cat. Yeah, very high prey drive. Nightmare with fireworks. There was another, this is a weird thing. He was apparently just ruled the house with fear. So Deborah and Paul are little. They're both in primary school. They're under 10 years old when this happens. They eat some fig rolls. And he's like, who's eating these fig rolls? They're my fig rolls. And they're like, us? And he goes, okay, we'll go out and replace them then. And so he kicks them out.
Oh, my God.
It's raining. And they're wandering the streets till 11 o'clock at night, scared to come home to try and find these fig rolls. They've got no money. They're babies. They're under 10 years old and they're wandering around because they're scared of what their dad's going to do to them. He's just a fucking horror
It's not worth
show.
it over fig rolls. You're fucking angry.
They are really... I don't know why. Do they have them in other countries? It feels like a British food.
I feel like it was something that would be banned in other countries for being so disgusting.
It's very warlike biscuit, isn't it?
Yeah, and surprisingly, I hate them. They should be within my sort of diet.
It's
I
the
hate them.
gritty jam of the fig inside.
It's just gross. And it's like pastry on the outside, isn't it? It's not like a biscuit. It's like a... Ugh. Don't like them.
So he's released from prison. He is working as a bully in his own home. But what do bullies do if they're in their own home? They also get a job as a bouncer.
Yeah.
So he's a bouncer. Now, bearing in mind, he's in his 40s by this point. He had a kind of obsession with teenage girls. And apparently he'd try and like pull these teenage girls, but he wasn't shy about it. He'd sort of like parade these girls around and show them off when he was having an affair with someone.
Oh, God.
And he was also working at the time as a bus driver in Llandarcy. So he's working as a bus driver, and he would take breaks in Llandarcy, and he'd go and chat up girls on his breaks in this sort of
Go away, you old man.
But do you know what he was doing while he was chatting up? He would always be carrying a knife and a ligature. Fucking weird, that, isn't it? Don't be going on Google Maps. I got a ligature in my pocket.
I got a knife and a ligature, and I will be using it. All right.
So it's a very small area, and everyone kind of knows him, and lots of the young women start to avoid him. So in 1964, there's a 15-year-old girl. She's walking through the estate. Now, there's lots of new builds that are going up. He starts walking along beside her and goes, oh, should we go and look in the building that's being done up and see what it's like? And she's like, yeah, okay. As soon as they get in there and they're outside, he throws her on the ground, jumps on her, and starts to try and assault her. She screams and fucking legs it and gets away, thank God. But that was definitely an attempted assault.
Yeah, not the first time he's done it as well. I have no, because I bet it's happened a lot and people just haven't said anything.
There's definitely more than we'll cover on this. There just is. So February 1973, two girls hitchhiking. So they come from Neath. I was going to say a place you'd want to escape, but I don't mean that. I've had some quite fun times in Neath. So a guy pulls over. One gets in the back, one gets in the front. Now, he's meant to drop them off, but he keeps driving. And they're like, oh, we live back there. And he's like, we're going somewhere else. So they go to this quiet road. He pulls up and he says there's different versions. He either says, you know I want it, or I know you want it. Either way, it's gross. And he just immediately, the girl in the front, he grabs her tits. The girl in the back has got like nails, which will become relevant, and tries to like grab him. He punches her in the face. She goes to open the door. The inside of the door is taken out like Ted Bundy. The only way you can get it out is she's got really long nails, and she sticks it in and she turns it, jumps out, is screaming, opens the front door, is dragging her friend out. Like, what a hero this woman is screaming. The lights come on in a house nearby. He freaks out and is like, I'm going to get caught. So he just does basically drives off. Now, obviously the people from the house come down, calm them down. One of the girls' dads is a church warden, and it never gets reported because she's scared of what her dad will do to her. And what I really don't like about that is that in loads of the sort of things I read were like, and if they'd have reported it, it would have, might have stopped these murders. And it's like, it's not on.
Yeah, it's not their fault.
Two 15-year-old girls who are like, sorry to be boring about this, but like, it's all patriarchy, right? They're scared of him. They're scared of the dad. If one of those things weren't true and it wasn't fucking men being scary towards women, yes, but also there's the other side of the patriarchy is, so what's going to happen is two 15-year-old girls are going to say, this guy jumped us. The police will go around, if they find him, and go, don't do that again.
Yeah,
they're hysterical. They're making stuff
shouldn't have been hitchhiking. You shouldn't have been doing
this.
That's what would have happened, yeah.
So I don't think for a second, and I hate that any blame has been laid at the door.
Like, they're not intervening in domestic incidents. They're not going to give a shit about this, are they?
No. Two 15-year-old girls, they'll just say they're lying and made it up, or, it scared them and that'll teach you not to hitchhike. Okay, so then becomes his first murder that we know of, because I'm sure there's others. So Sandra Newton is only 16 years old. This is Saturday, the 14th of July. She's on a night out, 1973, I should say. So night out in Brighton Ferry. She's at a nightclub. Maybe it's Britain Ferry. I've never heard of it. It's placed in Wales, but it's written Britain. Maybe I would have said Brighton.
I say Britain, though.
Britain Ferry. Okay, so out at a nightclub, she goes missing. 3 days later, her body is found. She has been raped and she's been strangled with her own skirt. It's in a sort of hidden bit of coal mine in Tonmar, which is really near the area that he drives through, the bus route that he drives. But he hadn't bothered to hide the body. He just dumped her near the opening of it. So he wasn't bothered about when she got found. They thought, well, she's been hitchhiking home. This is what's happened. And we think it's someone local because not many people know about this secluded area. That's it. The trail goes dry. Then a few months later, on the 16th of September 1973.
Ooh, my birthday.
Oh, yeah, it is, isn't it?
Not the year, just the day.
Don't start that.
1873. I was actually born. Yeah, my birthday. There
we often joke about how you can't be aged. But, like, you with a riding helmet on, you've got to put that picture up on something.
I look like a child. I've shrunk. I don't know what's going on.
You're in the picture I've taken. You're trying on this riding hat, and Chris.
You love Chris.
I love Chris.
She's not shut up about Chris.
Non-stop about Chris.
Chris this, Chris that.
He had reminded me of my dad. He's that sort of gruff vibe. He is stood next to you, and it genuinely looks like a proud grandfather taking his tiny granddaughter out on the ponies for the first time.
When I saw the picture, I was like, am I shrinking? Am I...
You don't look small. You just look young. You've also got, because you've got your, like, 2 chocolate buttons. You've got these lovely big brown eyes. You look like a child that's been rescued.
Someone commented that on something the other day. Because I used to work with a woman who used to go, oh, right, she got lovely eyes, like 2 big chocolate buttons. And
someone wrote on it.
Someone mentioned it. Because I just mentioned it, didn't I?
Yeah, you mentioned it at dinner the other day. She's always talking about her own eyes at dinner.
2 big chocolate buttons. I've got... Oh, some of my eyebrow stuff's come off. There we go. Never mind. Behind the curtain.
So this is the very sad story of Geraldine Hughes and Pauline Floyd. They're both 16 years of age. This is the thing is, most of these girls are travelling in pairs, which is what you do when you're like, well, that's how we stay safe. Like I thought we were going to get murdered the other day and pay 90 quid for the privilege. But when we went out in the Uber, he was like, do you want me to pick you up and take you back? And we were like, and he's like, you can just pay through my back, so I'll just wait here. And I was like, guy was being too pushy and it put me off. And then I sort of relaxed to his vibe as time went on, and we're like, okay. But I was like, it's that thing where you're like, oh, there's 2 of us, they'll be safe. But
I could have took him on my own.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Not if you had a gun.
I don't think he'd have a gun.
Well, no, listen, he didn't. He was a brilliant taxi driver and I tipped him and everything's fine. Like, he did everything fine, but
he actually did us a favour.
He did us a massive favour. We never would have got one back. Anyway, so Geraldine Hughes and Pauline Floyd are 16 years of age. They've been for a night out in a club in Swansea. In many ways, the saddest part of this. Swansea is fucking feral after dark. It absolutely is. Beautiful in the day. They are found strangled in Llandarcy Woods, again, where he used to work. A really sad thing is it looks like one of the girls had nearly got away. Mm-hmm. She was right by the road, and on the road there her dad worked. So, yeah, it is awful. She'd obviously done a runner and he'd got her just before she'd managed to escape.
Oh, what a horrible man.
Yes. Now, even though it's a very similar crime of girls being assaulted, girls being murdered and their bodies dumped, they weren't linked to the crimes.
I mean, it's mad that they don't link this.
Bear in mind they're August, a month apart pretty much.
I mean, that's not a coincidence.
No, 2 months apart. That is why, in a small area that doesn't have crimes like these. Now, the girls were seen getting into a white Austin, how would you say that? 1100?
1100.
A white Austin 1100, which was a very popular car.
Don't want to upset the car community.
Very popular car. There was also a tyre track found near the girls, which was, so they had a tyre track. Now, they did the paperwork and went, right, how many people have got a white Austin 1100 in the area? 10,000 owners. They've not managed.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, isn't it? So they narrow it down. There's basically lots of pools of suspects. Right, you've got people with a white Austin 1100, 10,000 of them. You've got nearby steelworks. That's 13,000 men that are working there, which is very close. They're building the M4 at the time, so there's lots of transient workers. Neath Fair is on. There's lots of transient workers there. So they kind of try and narrow down this. Everything is really slow because, again, even it sounds like, well, everyone's on a 3-day working week. So you can't, if you miss people in that 3 day, you've got to wait another week to catch them. So they eventually interview Joseph Kappen, who, when they go to the house, his car is on bricks outside and the tyres have been removed. And they go, we're looking for someone, you've got a car like that. And he said, my car's off the road. Now, if it had been modern day policing and they'd been able to run it in a machine, they would have known that his tyres are off then. But around the time of the murder, shortly afterwards, he was caught, not caught speeding, but the police had checked his car for some reason and he was on the road. So he had recently removed the tyres to replace them. But because you can't do that with paperwork, who the fuck is going to find that? So he has an alibi. He says, I was at Neath Fair with my family. Now, Christine is asked, why did you give him an alibi? And she was like, it was absolutely automatic when the police came to the house and they go, where, was he out this night? You go, no, he's at home with me. So she was like, it was completely automatic to be giving him an alibi.
Because also she's going to get a good leather in as well if she doesn't.
Exactly. So in August of 1974, bearing in mind that's less than a year after it, they've got no leads and they'd wind the case down. So these two poor girls are not getting any justice until 1998.
Oh, wow.
They find some DNA of him, basically. And this is at the time where DNA is having breakthroughs.
It's having a moment.
It's having a real moment. We're in our DNA era. He has got a really rare trait in his DNA.
Oh.
So much so that they only actually will now, with modern technology, would ever need a partial profile and they could match him from his DNA.
Interesting.
Because he's got this very rare thing going on. So they basically find some DNA on the two girls' clothes, Hughes and Floyd, and they go, right, well, let's run it and see if we can find a relative, because we know if it's got 50, maybe we can find the person, but if not, if it comes up as a 50% match, we know that is an offspring or a parent or whatever. So they reopen the case under Operation Magnum, which is real sort of Alan Partridge name.
I've told you about my dad with the Magnum, haven't I? So this was a couple of years ago, I was at my mum and dad's house and he was, I don't know, he was being his usual self and we had a bit of an argument about something and he was wrong. And about half an hour later, I was sitting facing the TV, so he was behind me, he went, do you want a Magnum? And I went, was this a peace offering? He went, no, I've eaten all the chocolate off it and I don't want it anymore.
That's not a Magnum.
First of all, that's not a Magnum, that's an ice cream. That's just an ice cream now.
What a weird thing for a dad to have done.
No, I've eaten all the chocolate. Yeah, you're not a 7-year-old boy.
Yeah, it's like something a little kid would do, like, Mummy, it's an ice cream.
Like I used to eat still do, eat turkey dinosaurs. I eat all the breadcrumbs off it and then I eat the congealed meat. Went to Magnum. Also, not keen on Magnums.
Really?
No, not mad on them.
Lidl did or Aldi did a vegan version with almonds that was
Were they good?
Real good. Yeah, love it. So, Operation Magnum is rolling on. It's about the year 2000. They got this DNA profile. Now, the profile comes from, I think it's actually from Sandra's case. They have found 3 sets of DNA. Sandra, her boyfriend, and a third profile. So they run everything, and it runs basically anyone who's had their DNA taken and uploaded since 1995. And they also do a Crime Watch reconstruction. They are like ramping it up. So this is in 2001. It goes out on Crime Watch. It's only got information. Did anyone see anything? Because at the time there was massive rumours that Fred West had done these murders. Ooh. Because he used to work in Llandarcy. So Fred West rises up once again.
Here he is again, yeah.
Now they run, I think it's 22,000 profiles, and they get a list of 100 names. And they have about 500 suspects anyway. The first set of suspects are witnesses at the time, relatives, boyfriends, stepdads, that kind of thing. Now they cross-section it against people with criminal records, and they go through everyone. So they don't just do this 100. They do, like, let's do these 500 and start the police investigation again, essentially. Suspect number 200 that they talked to after about 2 months of starting the investigation, is found. Now, he's got a 50% DNA match, and his name is Paul Kappen.
Ooh.
And he is a car thief. And they go, well, maybe we found our guy with this DNA match. But they go, probably not, because he was 7 when these crimes are being carried out. So they go and they investigate him and they chat to him and they say, where's your dad? And he said, well, he died of cancer in 1988. He was very sick. He spent a lot of the end of his life in a wheelchair. He was very, very infirmed. And it was, lung cancer that he died of, and he was only 49 when he passed away.
49.
Well, I mean, he was fucking, chewing tobacco, smoking, really high risk.
49?
Yeah. So they go and get DNA from Christine and from Deborah with their permission, and it looks like he's going to be a match. But they can't just say yes. Mm-hmm. So on Christmas Eve of 2001, they applied to the then Home Secretary, David Blunkett, and say...
I saw him get stuck in a revolving door once.
The blind Home Secretary? Really?
Yeah, so it's the whole big thing. Like, John Prescott was there. It was an event at the library that I was working at. And David Blunkett was there with his guide dog, of course. And he left early because some anti-frackers got in and were kicking off. And he left early, but I was at reception. The revolving door was always turned off for events, and people came in through the side door. And his dog walked him into the revolving door, and he was just standing there. I was like, "I'm ever so sorry, Mr. Blunkett. The revolving door is off. If you'd like to just step to the side."
That dog's fucking done him a dirty there.
And then I must have mentioned this before. I had to explain to John Prescott, who would not leave because he was like, well, he's anti-frackers, my safety. And
so would he have been Deputy Prime Minister at the time?
No, I can't remember what he was. No, he wasn't at the time. And I just said to him, look, with all due respect, Mr. Prescott, I want to get home and have my tea. And I hit his heart with that.
I bet you did.
He's the man who wanted to get home for his tea.
Yes.
And he was like, okay, right.
Johnny Two Jokes.
Yeah. He's like, right, okay. Yeah, I just had enough. By this point, I'd been at work all day. It was like 9:30 in the evening, and he was like puffing and he's like, whoa. And the library security had said, we can take you in the library van. We will take you back to your hotel. We stayed in the Midland, and that'd be fine. And he was like, I think he wanted a car,
right?
And I just said, with all due respect, Mr. Prescott, I want to get home and have my tea.
Man of the people. Man of the people.
Anyway,
so they applied to David Blunkett.
Yes.
It's a rare case. In fact, it is, as well as being Wales's first documented serial killer, it is the first serial killer to be exhumed to prove that they were guilty. Ooh. So it's very unusual, but David Blunkett goes, go ahead. I've had a big day. I've been stuck in a revolving door. Do what you want.
Go for it.
Now, there is the other side of this is, if they exhume him, there's no guarantee that the DNA will be viable, if that makes sense.
I hate the word exhumed.
It's not nice, is it? Do you know what? If I am, I'll get this on record now. I don't know if this is binding. If there's some horrific crime related to me, and at some point they want to exhume me, don't let them. No. Don't let them. Just leave me there.
Just gross.
They won't be able to exhume you anyway. You'll be in a dustpan and brush.
There'll be nothing left of me.
But I want my bones around.
No, I want to be...
I want to poison a water source.
Cremate me.
No way.
Oh, remind me to tell you about the weird story I heard.
Okay. Now, May 15th, 2002, he is exhumed. Apparently, it is a beautiful sunny day, or it's forecasted to be
lovely day for an exhumation.
Lovely day for an exhumation. So, but what happens apparently, and bearing in mind this is 2002, not sort of the 1400s, as soon as the ground is opened up, thunder and lightning starts appearing.
Wow.
And it starts pissing it down, and yeah, it was a very unusual situation. And apparently there was a crack of lightning when he was brought up, all this kind of stuff. And everyone said, it's because the devil's being raised from the ground, which makes me embarrassed to be Welsh. So they take his tooth, amazed that he's got any tooth. Tooth, it would be down there, blue tooth.
My dad says tooth.
Does he?
Yeah.
They take a tooth, which I'm surprised he had in his head after all that chewing tobacco. And they take some of his femur and they run it and they say, yes, this is the man who murdered these women. Now, he was linked to other cases. There was a case of a 9-year-old girl, I think I can't remember what her name is now, in Scarborough, which is an area he'd been working in at the time, going missing. And they basically said, we don't think it was him because he didn't go for 9-year-olds. But he was going for 15-year-old girls. Like, it's not like that. It's not a huge leap to think that an opportunistic predator is not going to be like, but not children. Like, these are all cut from the same cloth, these people. And there was Maureen Mulcahy, who had lived in the area and was murdered in a very similar thing.
Right.
They had taken, they said there was no DNA on her, but they've taken tapes. You know, when I think it's literally where they put like sellotape.
Oh, yeah.
And they get, so there might be DNA on those, but they haven't, at the time of this, I couldn't find anything to say that he had, tried to test it. This led to the Welsh police getting something of the wind behind their sails. And they were like, we can run other DNA things. So they ran the DNA in the relation to Lynette White, who is someone we've never spoke about on this podcast. But, the Cardiff 5.
Yeah.
Horrific. You know why? I don't think we should talk about it because it's an incredible, huge miscarriage of justice that is like rooted in racism and is like something the South Wales police and all police force should be fucking deeply ashamed of. But because there is an incredible, exhaustive documentary, I think it's called Threads or Shreds on BBC Wales made it. Lynette White was murdered. They framed these 5 guys in Cardiff.
Wasn't that near where the Cardiff Clears as well?
Yeah. It's sort of Tiger Bay.
It's those flats, isn't it?
Yeah. So, I mean, that was a massive black area and always has been really, really diverse, big port. And they basically framed these guys. They ran the DNA and then they found the actual white man who had killed her years later. I mean, this is very recent in the 2000s when he was found and went to trial and was found guilty. And these poor fucking guys have been locked up and obviously they're completely fucked their mental health and some of them, passed away.
I think if you've been wrongly convicted of a crime, you should, and you've been in prison, you should come out and there should be like, here's a house, here's money.
Well, there is compensation and I just feel like it's never enough.
No, how could you compensate for somebody losing years of their life?
Yeah.
You can't.
It's mad. They had a photo fit of a guy that was seen leaving a white guy and then they arrested basically black guys. It's fucking nuts. Anyway, so that is the story of Wales's first ever serial killer.
Interesting.
And bus driver.
Don't you be bringing the bus driving community into this.
Did you tell me the thing you were like, I'll tell you that afterwards, about exhuming, was it?
Oh, no, it was just a weird story that I was listening to before. It's true crime, but it was this woman who wanted to leave her husband because she was sick of him. But then he said, give me another chance. And she did. And they went on this big holiday. His gesture was like, we're back together. And she worked in surgery and she injected him with this, like a drug that paralyses you, and then set the holiday home on fire and killed him.
What? Is this real?
Yeah. So I'm listening to it and I'm like, what? This is the most bonkers story I've ever heard.
That sounds like something made up.
Just leave him.
Yeah.
You've said you're leaving him. Don't do that. Yeah, it was mad. Like I was listening to it and you listen to something and you go, what? Well, I didn't expect this twist. Mad.
Although you're into, you like a sort of schlocky Kindle book, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
We were walking back yesterday and you rubbed your hands together, mate. I'm going to get Kenny Kindle out. And you're like, what's the twist? I know there's a twist coming. What's the twist? Have you found it yet?
No, I've not. It's a man and he's got a secret. Oh, what is it? I think, he's got a dead wife. I think he's either lying about that or he's killed her. He's killed her. Of course he's killed her.
Well, I said he's killed her, right? And you said, I think the wife never existed.
Maybe. Ooh.
Tune in to the next episode of All Killa No Filla.
Do you know what, though?
Find out the plot of
I can never remember what these books are. I can read these books, and if you ask me afterwards what happened, I'll be like, I have no idea. I can't tell you. They're always called like the perfect husband or his wife's shadow. You know, things like that. I fucking love them.
I'm very bad for reading a book and not really remembering what's happened, but I've read two very memorable ones recently.
Oh, yeah.
Both been shortlisted for big prizes.
Ooh.
Miranda July, all fours. And there's some...
I saw someone else reading that.
Yeah.
Jules from PB, who works for our agency.
Oh, yeah. I love Jules. And is it called The Stone House something? It's basically about, if you've read it, you'll know it's about, there's a nun's
bones
and some mice, loads of mice.
Sounds disgusting.
It is quite disgusting.
The
actually.
Wager I'm reading, which is about a mutiny. It's very good. We've not got to the mutiny yet.
And do you know what? I've got 2 books that I got from a little street library.
Oh, yes.
In Sydney that I'm reading at the moment. Feminists Don't Wear Pink and Other Lies, which something I've been meaning to read for ages. And a Moonman's book. God, I love
the real spectrum there.
Real spectrum, isn't it?
In fact, we've got a bit of time now, so we'll go and get something to eat, and then I can read what is this guy's secret.
Sorry to sound like I'm being A, basic, and B, like I'm lying. Aren't books brilliant? I absolutely love reading.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm in a reading bit at the moment.
She's in a reading era.
I will have a reading era about once every 2 years, and I'll read about 20 books, and then I'll stop reading.
Well, listen, I've lost my AirPods, so
yes,
I'm going to be glued to that Kindle on my trip home.
You lost them on the plane,
don't
and
know
you're being
where.
very entertaining with a little girl on your row.
Yeah. No,
That's what 2 Shirazes will do. She was a fucking super nanny here. It was great.
Yeah, for the last 10 minutes. I'm just very tired now. I don't want to go home, but we have to. Next time we record, we'll be back. Back in Blighty.
Thank you so much for listening. And huge, massive thank you to everyone in Australia and New Zealand who's come to see the shows.
Yeah. It's our New Zealand show tonight. The piano.
Yes. Oh, fuck.
Looks a really nice venue. Can't wait to lower the tone in there.
I've thought that about a few of the places we've gone to and be like, oh, God, they're going to lose some funding because of this. Yeah, and then we're off to Auckland and then Wellington.
And then home and Fiji for you.
I'm going to Fiji on holiday. Can you imagine?
I've just looked at my diary going back and I'm like, I don't want to do any of this stuff. So ungrateful. I'm like, I just want to stay at home. I mean, because I've been on tour and then here.
Yeah.
I mean, what month is it? It's May, isn't it?
Yeah, you've worked your bollocks off. You deserve some time off.
So I'm going to have to. I want to go a bit of Cornwall, please. That's what I need.
Oh, yeah, nice. I just can't wait to get home. The only thing I'm nervous about is we've got a fox knocking around as usual.
What do you say? I always imagine it in like a waistcoat. You know, the one out of Beatrix Potter?
Checking its watch, little pocket watch.
Yeah, like.
No, I told you this the other day. That we've got a drive and the chickens were going berserk. They've got like a different call if there's a fox.
Ooh.
And they were up on barn roofs that are like 40 feet high. Wow. I don't know how it got up there. So there's this chicken going up on the roof.
That's a really good impression. That was very good. Yes. Very good. It's like the BBC Sound Archive, isn't it?
I'm a Foley artist these days. And yeah, so it was kicking off on top. And then my partner looked out and he saw a fox kind of slinking along the far field.
Do one, mate.
So then he went downstairs, got some trainers on, and then the fox was just wandering away from the farm. It hadn't come up into the yard, wandering away from the farm. And he started just running towards it, and the fox turned around and looked at him. And then he said, I was getting closer and closer, and the fox wasn't moving. And I was like, what am I going to do when I get there? I haven't thought this far ahead. I thought I'd run off.
Clear off, mister.
Yeah.
Go.
Also, he loves foxes. He probably would have tried to domesticate it. They domesticate themselves. I told you this.
You did tell me
I sent an article to our friend Jason, lovely Jason
Dawson.
Yeah. Saying, look at this. And when they get self-domesticated, their snouts get shorter.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's weird traits become prevalent when you domesticate things. It's a Darwinian theory.
Well, there you go.
It's all in the article. Anyway, thanks for listening and thank you so much to everyone who came
to all of our shows.
We have an announcement coming about Halloween.
Ooh.
I think maybe we've got to send off some stuff for that. But we are finally potentially doing some shows in the UK, but I think we'll only be doing 2 this year.
Yes. See what I mean about the door slamming in here?
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.